His voice was calm, his gaze steady. He said things my husband never did. And when I cried during session 6, he handed me a tissue and held my wrist for just 1 second longer than necessary. That was the moment I stopped being a patient and started being something else. I'm Rachel. Welcome to Lust and Lies. This is my confession of regret. We were married for 7 years. Me and Daniel. The man I thought I'd grow old with. The man I once couldn't stop touching, laughing with, dreaming with. But people change. Or maybe people reveal who they truly are. By year 5, we weren't a couple. We were roommates. With dinner schedules, shared chores, and distant goodnights. The sex had stopped. The laughter had dulled. The silence between us got louder by the day. He suggested therapy to fix us. I was hesitant. I didn't want a stranger judging me, telling me I wasn't doing enough. Or worse, telling me I should leave. But I agreed, because deep down, I wanted someone to finally listen, someone to hear my loneliness, my emptiness. That's how we met Dr. Lucas Raid. He was younger than I expected, late 30s, calm voice, minimalist office, glasses he took off when he got serious, a soft beard and eyes that didn't just see, they searched. From the first session, I noticed it. The way he looked at me when Daniel spoke over me. The way he gently redirected the conversation to give me space. The way he said my name, like it mattered. I told myself it was professionalism, compassion, empathy. But it wasn't. Not entirely. By session 4, I had memorized the color of his tie. By session 5, I was applying more lipstick. And by session 6, when my voice cracked while talking about the night Daniel forgot our anniversary, he leaned forward. "I see you," he said. And something inside me shattered. After that 6th session, I couldn't look him in the eyes. Dr. Reed had touched me, just my wrist, but it lingered. And the way he said, "I see you," it felt like a confession, like a dare. Daniel didn't notice. He was too busy explaining why I overreacted to being forgotten, why therapy was helping us. But he never once asked if I felt helped. Session 7 was worse. Dr. Raid wore a black shirt that day, no tie, slight stubble on his jawline. He looked less like a therapist and more like a man I wanted to press my mouth against. He asked us to talk about intimacy. Daniel joked, said, "We haven't exactly been doing much of that lately." I smiled politely, but I wanted to scream. Dr. Reed turned to me. "What's intimacy to you, Rachel?" He asked softly. I swallowed hard. It's when someone sees you completely and doesn't flinch. His eyes never left mine, and I swear he flinched, but not out of disgust, out of hunger. That night, I stayed behind, just for a moment. Daniel went ahead to the car. I told Dr. Raid I'd forgotten my scarf. I hadn't. He stood as I walked in. I reached for the scarf on the couch, paused. He didn't speak. Neither did I, but something shifted. The air got thicker. My hands trembled. "I'm sorry," I said, even though I didn't know what for. He stepped closer, close enough for me to see the tiny freckle on his cheekbone, close enough to smell the faint scent of mint and paper. And "Man, you don't have to apologize," he whispered. We stood there, frozen, two people who knew exactly what they were doing, and were still doing it. His hand lifted, stopped near my face, then dropped again. He stepped back. "Rachel," he said, voice rough. "This can't happen." I nodded. "I know." But neither of us moved. That night I didn't sleep. I lay beside Daniel in silence, his back turned, the distance between us a canyon, and all I could think about was a man I wasn't allowed to want. But I did. God help me, I did. The next session felt electric. We sat across from each other like nothing had changed, like he hadn't almost kissed me, like I hadn't imagined his hands on my body every single night since. Daniel droned on about work, schedules, why we weren't having sex. Dr. Raid took notes, but he wasn't listening to Daniel. Not really. He kept glancing at me, not often, but enough. And when our eyes met, it wasn't professional, it wasn't clinical, it was personal, hungry. After session 9, I didn't leave with Daniel. I told him I had errands to run. Instead, I waited, in the parking lot. When Dr. Raid walked out, he looked startled. "Rachel, I need to talk." He hesitated, then nodded. We went to the coffee shop 2 blocks away, sat in a corner booth. We didn't touch, didn't even sit that close. but the space between us vibrated. "You shouldn't have followed me," he said quietly. "I didn't follow you, I waited." He ran a hand through his hair. "This is dangerous. So is loneliness," I replied. He looked at me then. Really looked. "You're married." "I'm unhappy." He leaned forward. "So am I." Silence. Heavy, loaded. I reached across the table, touched his wrist, like he had touched mine weeks ago. And when he didn't pull away, I knew. We left without finishing our drinks. His apartment was quiet, sparse, like a man who didn't expect company. He poured 2 glasses of wine, hands shaking. "I shouldn't be doing this," he muttered. "You already are," I whispered, and then he kissed me. Not soft, not hesitant, but deep, needy, years of restraint collapsing all at once. His hands were everywhere, in my hair, down my back, under my blouse. I gasped when his lips found my collarbone. He lifted me onto the kitchen counter. My legs wrapped around him instinctively. Clothes vanished in silence. No words, only breath, only moans, only skin. He carried me to the bedroom, laid me down like I was fragile. But the way he moved wasn't gentle. It was desperate, starved. We made love like it meant something. Maybe it did. After we lay tangled in sheets, the guilt hadn't settled yet, only the aftermath. Sticky, quiet, charged. He kissed my shoulder. "I don't know what happens now," he said. "Neither do I. But I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going to stop. Not yet." The affair continued. Not every day, not even every week, but enough to matter, enough to destroy me. We kept seeing Dr. Raid professionally. Sessions resumed like clockwork. Daniel none the wiser, still talking, still trying. Sometimes I couldn't even look at him. Not because I didn't love him, but because I had already betrayed him in ways he couldn't imagine. Dr. Reed and I started texting. It began innocently. A check-in, a time change, a forwarded article. Then it turned into midnight thoughts, pictures, confessions, voice notes I'd replay in bed while Daniel slept inches away. The line between therapy and desire blurred, then disappeared entirely. But guilt is a slow burn. It started small. The way Daniel made coffee for me in the morning, the way he still tried, the way he looked at me during dinner like I was the only woman he wanted. And I hated myself, because I had already chosen someone else, not with my heart, but with my body. Session 12 was the beginning of the end. Daniel brought up the idea of trust. "Sometimes," he said, "I feel like she's somewhere else, even when she's right beside me." I froze. Dr. Reed's pen stilled. Our eyes locked. And in that moment, he looked terrified. "I'm just tired," I lied. "Work's been draining." Daniel nodded, accepted it. But Dr. Reed didn't speak for a full minute. When he finally did, his voice shook. "I think we should pause sessions for a few weeks," he said. Daniel blinked. "Why?" "I believe space can sometimes help us see more clearly." It was a lie, and I knew it because his hands trembled the way they did when I undressed in front of him. Later that night, he texted me. "Me have to stop before it all collapses." I stared at the screen, typed no, deleted it, typed okay, deleted that too, and finally sent, "I can't lose you." No reply. I didn't hear from him for 2 weeks. No sessions, no messages, no stolen glances, nothing. And the silence was unbearable. Not because I missed the sex, but because I missed being seen. Daniel was trying. He planned a weekend trip, took me to the restaurant where we had our first date, held my hand in the car like it still meant something. And the worst part, it did. Then, one evening, I got an email from his personal address, Dr. Lucas Raid. One sentence. "This is the last time I'll reach out. I'm leaving the practice." My heart dropped. He was cutting ties. Completely. No goodbye. No closure. Just gone. I replied. Begged. Asked to see him one more time. He agreed. One coffee. One conversation. No more. We met at a park. Public. Safe. Neutral. He looked thinner. Pale. Tired. "I lost everything," he said. "I'm sorry." He nodded. "I violated every code I swore to uphold. Because I let you in, and I wanted you more than I respected the work I did." Tears welled in my eyes. "It wasn't just you," I whispered. "I came to therapy to save my marriage, and I destroyed it instead." We sat in silence, wind in the trees, children laughing in the distance. And then he said it. We were never going to survive this, Rachel. It was never love. It was escape. I nodded. Because deep down, I knew he was right. I stood up. He didn't follow. I didn't look back. That night, I lay next to Daniel, his arm over me, his breath warm against my neck. He whispered, "I'm glad we didn't give up." And I bit my tongue, because I had. He just didn't know it, and maybe never would. I'm Rachel, and this wasn't just therapy. This was confession, desire, deception, and the price I paid for being seen. This was my true infidelity story.